Hey there, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to part 2 of me looking at the films of the year 2000. And last time I ended with Get Carter, which I think is a very underrated Sylvester Stallone film. Wonderful cast, solid performance by Sly, capable direction. I love the tone of the movie, the music of the movie, the look of the movie. Get Carter, I think, is a pretty damn underrated flick. And yeah, all these movies I can't show because I don't have. Maybe one day if I ever get rich, I'll grab these movies for cheap and review them or whatever. But I've heard of The Gift, a Sam Raimi film. I know Keanu Reeves is in it, among other people. Gone in 60 Seconds. I remember not being too shabby on that remake with Nick Cage. Seemed like the film should have had a lot more action than it did. I know Angelina Jolie and Giovanni Ribisi was in that film. Gun Shy, which is a film I'd like to give a look because it has Liam Neeson and Sandra Bullock in the flick. So I would like to see it because I like those two. A film called Hanging Up, which I think has Meg Ryan and Walter Matthau and Diane Keaton in it, Lisa Kudrow. Then you have a Hellraiser sequel, Hellraiser 5, Inferno. Now, I have reviewed all the Hellraiser films. They're on my channel. I even have a playlist where I reviewed all the Hellraiser flicks. I honestly like just the first three. 4 and 5 or but it gets a lot worse. But Hellraiser 5, I do like Craig Sheffer in the flick. I think it's actually Scott Derrickson who would go on to do Deliver Us from Evil and Doctor Strange, which are much better than the Hellraiser 5 Inferno is a lot like Jacob's Ladder. I would say honestly all they did was just rip off Jacob's Ladder. And I'd rather watch Jacob's Ladder. But I mean it's definitely better than fucking Deader or Hellseeker or the fucking new ones. It's not saying much though. So it's not as bad looking back when you compare it to the ones after, because you got like James Remar and Doug Bradley still as Pinhead, Nick Turturro, Craig Sheffer. Again, he's not bad as the lead, but it's just I don't know, just remind me so much of Jacob's Ladder. I'd rather just watch Jacob's Ladder. But anyway, I have a review of that up, as well as all the other Hellraiser films if you want to hear more thoughts on it. High Fidelity. Um, Now, of the two, I like Grosse Point Blank more, but High Fidelity is pretty decent comedy. Some fun stuff. Jack Black has a nice supporting role. You have Joan Cusack, Sarah Gilbert. I think Tim Robbins is in the flick too. Pretty much John Cusack works at this record store, sells music on vinyl. One of the people who works for him is Jack Black. I would probably like to concentrate more at the record store and less on John Cusack's romance life. Because the stuff in the record store is the best part. This is one of those movies that actually reference Evil Dead 2. Because Jack Black is talking about Evil Dead 2 and how much he loves it. I think it was, yeah, Jack Black or John Cusack, one of the two. I think Jack Black. So that was cool. Them referencing Evil Dead 2. Overall, I don't mind the film. I think it's a pretty decent flick. One of the people who did the screenplay was Steve Pink, as well as John Cusack. So Steve Pink, that's probably he was also one of the co-producers, and Steve Pink is the guy who did Hot Tub Time Machine. So that's them working on movies like this is probably how he got John Cusack to star in that movie. Decent flick. John Cusack does a good job. I'm a fan of John Cusack. Highlander Endgame, bullshit movie. I know it got fucked around, so like shit in the trailer's not in the movie, and fucking there's different cuts of the movie from what I understand. It was like trying to put the movie and the TV show together, which just doesn't make any fucking sense because in Highlander there can be only one, thus there be only one guy, then there is, then he's in the future, then there's only one, so there's one guy, then all of a sudden there's 50 fucking guys on the TV show, so it's one of those franchises that just doesn't make any fucking sense. And I didn't like the fact you just kill off Christopher Lambert for Adrian Paul, which I'm sorry. I like Christopher Lambert a lot more than Adrian Paul. This is more Adrian Paul's movie, and I don't just never gave a fuck about the TV show. So whatever the other movie flaws are, which I know there are, but that's the one. That's the main thing I think of when about this movie. This and the fifth one are the ones I think are the worst. I didn't watch the first three for what they are, but this and five, the Source, I think are shit. Yeah, Donnie Yen's in this. He's given nothing to do. Movies like this is probably why he fucking went back to Asia to do movies of his own, which I don't blame him. Hollow Man. This was another nice gift. Awesome to have this on Blu-ray. If you're watching, thank you so much for this. Love Hollow Man. To me, it's the last great Paul Verhoeven flick. I don't understand why people hate this film. I mean, it's an R-rated, at times bloody slasher movie involving the Invisible Man, and you got Kevin Bacon, Elizabeth Shue, and Josh Brolin in the movie. In a slasher movie with cool effects, dealing with an Invisible Man slasher movie, that's a cool idea. And done in Paul Verhoeven style of not giving a fuck and going for the R. Definitely my top three favorite. Yeah, probably be like, I'm not sure which is my favorite. Total Recall or RoboCop. It's hard to pick. But I mean, after those two, it would be this one. I don't mind Starship Troopers, but things of the story bother me. But this I really enjoy. Big fan of Hollow Man. Never understood the hate this film got. Never understood it. Underrated movie. You have Hot Boys, which is a hot plate of ass that I remember seeing once a long time ago because Jeff Speakman has like a 1 minute part in it. So I checked out because I wanted to see all of Jeff Speakman's movies. I don't think that review's up anymore because it might have been on my older channel. I would like to redo the Jeff Speakman marathon, but I would have to find and watch movies like Hot Boys again, which is a scary thing. The Grinch. I watched this again. It's not nearly as bad as The Cat in the Hat, which I ranted on. That's on this channel. It's not nearly as bad as that piece of shit. The effects on The Grinch is good. Jim Carrey gives a pretty decent performance. Again, solid effects. I think Rick Baker did it. The little girl, Taylor Momsen, who plays Cindy Lou Who, she's not annoying. Honestly, I thought the Who's looked scarier than the Grinch. Like the Who's with their beaver teeth. They look scarier than the Grinch. Yeah, Ron Howard is a capable director, but he's, Solo, fuck that movie. It's there. It's there. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's there. I know they're coming out with a new animated Grinch movie, which, whatever the fuck. Yeah, this film called Icebreaker, which is a Die Hard on a ski slope movie with Sean Astin from the Goonies as the lead, and Bruce Campbell as the villain, and then Stacy Keach is also in the film. And it's called Icebreaker. Check out the trailer. It's literally a Die Hard type of movie on the ice slopes, on the mountain. Bruce Campbell's the villain, and Sean Astin is the hero. So, wow. You have this film I've never heard of called Interstate 84, and Kevin Dillon from the Blob remake is stars in it. Never heard of the movie before. I don't know what it's about. I think Kevin Dillon plays a cop in it. But yeah, I've never heard of Interstate 84. I don't even know if it's available to watch anywhere, but yeah, I'm a big Kevin Dillon fan, so I would love to give it a look just for him. You have Jack Frost 2, which is not as good as the first one. I actually like the first Jack Frost. Like, that's a movie that's so bad it's good. And Jack Frost 2, believe it or not, is even cheaper and less funny. But So the sequel is pretty fucking awful. And I mentioned in part 1, this is a bad year for Dolph. Jill the Ripper, aka Jill Rips, from Anthony Hitchcock's, who did Waxwork 1 and 2, and among other films. From what I understand, originally, Anthony Hitchcock wanted to do this with Tom Berenger, which makes more sense for him to be in this S&M thriller. It doesn't make sense for Dolph to be in this. But it seemed like, I think Hitchcock worked alright with Dolph. At least a lot better than when he worked with fucking Steven Seagal and Submerged. That's the thing. This is just not the right role for Dolph. It's like he's trying to be tightrope with Clint Eastwood, but dealing more with the S&M and sexual bondage with dark violence and trying to be intrigued. And it's not because Dolph's in it. It just didn't gel together well. I mean, I wouldn't put the blame on Dolph. I'd put it on. It's just not that good of a movie. I mean, it's. I'm about to say, you don't need to see Dolph in this kind of flick. Yeah. Then you have this film with Ben Stiller and Edward Norton called Keeping the Faith, which I haven't seen in forever. But it's like one's a priest and one's I forget who he is, but they're into religion and they fall in love with the same girl. I think it's Jenna Elfman from that TV show Dharma and Greg. Again, haven't seen that in forever. Then you have Disney's The Kid. I thought this was actually pretty decent for a Disney movie. It was rated PG. Bruce Willis, he's all about work. And one day he meets this kid who is his 8-year-old self. And pretty much the 8-year-old self teaches him how to essentially grow up and be a better person. It was cute. It was heartfelt. Bruce Willis gave a shit. People like Lily Tomlin, they did fine in the role. Lame fucking covers, just Bruce Willis' face. What the fuck does that tell about the movie? But a little bit of a charming flick. Not a bad Bruce Willis film. I don't know whatever happened to that kid, Spencer Breslin. He like disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. Then you have The Ladies' Man, which is based on a Saturday Night Live sketch, which I haven't seen all the way through. I saw it once a long time ago when I had cable. I don't have that anymore. So I don't know if it's a good or a bad movie. The Last Warrior, which I thought I had because it's Dolph Lundgren, but I don't have that movie. I'm not surprised though. This is a piece of shit. Once again, The Last Warrior. Like I said before, some of these may be 2000, they may be 2001 because sometimes the year is skewed by it was in this one place in 2000, so thus it's 2000, but everyone saw in 2001. So it's just that's a weird thing with dates, especially as you went further in the years. But from where here it said 2000. It's also known as The Last Patrol. It's like post-apocalyptic, but it's boring as fuck. It's from the same guy who directed Lionheart, but it's boring as fuck. Go ahead and watch The Last Warrior or The Last Patrol with Dolph. Feel free to prove me wrong, but that's a bad fucking movie. Again, one of his worst ones. This was a terrible year for Dolph. Agent Red, Jill the Ripper, and The Last Warrior. 3 of his worst movies. Leprechaun in the Hood. Fuck off, Leprechaun. I ranted on all those Leprechaun movies except the reboot, and now they're doing another fucking one. Fuck that shit. I ranted on 5 fucking Leprechauns with those were the ones with Ward Davis. That's more than enough. I reviewed and ranted on those pieces of shit. They're on my channel. All 5 of those leprechauns can suck my balls. Little Nicky. Adam Sandler's character is pretty annoying with his, the lisp. Hey, how's it going? It's not even like, how do you even call it? It's not even a lisp. Like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, really like this. That annoyed the piss out of me. But I got this because, like a lot of New Line Cinema, has a lot of features. Feature-length cast commentary where Michael McKean, John Lovitz, Ozzy Osbourne, Henry Winkler appeared throughout it. You have a commentary with Adam Sandler, the director, Stephen Brill, co-writer Tim Herlihy, just to hear their thoughts on it. This is like, it says $3, but I think I got it for like $1.50. I think it was half off. And throughout the film, there's Rodney Dangerfield in it, a lot of cameos. So maybe it's not the worst like people said it is. He's made worse movies. Jack and Jill. But I mean, at least for the features, it was worth it. And there's some decent parts to it, but I can't say I'm a big fan of it. It's not one of my favorites. I like these snapper cases too. A lot of people hate them, but I like them because it makes the case feel sturdy. Yeah, this is some of the things in there. Nice, pictures through the film. Yeah, I like how sturdy these things are. They don't feel like they'll fall apart. So you got Lost Souls, which is this lame horror satanic flick with Winona Ryder. I don't remember a damn other thing about it other than she was in it. I think Elias Koteas, Casey Jones from the 1990 tourist film, I think he was in it. Lucky Numbers, a flick with John Travolta, which I've never seen. Mott 2 with Brian Bosser, which I've heard is the fucking shits. Me, Myself, and Irene. One the last. Well, I can't say the last because I like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but you know, the Jim Carrey film I remember that made me laugh. I can't remember many comedies after this that made me laugh. Movie-wise, again, I like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but comedy-wise, definitely the last decent thing the Farrelly brothers did, because Dumb and Dumber 2 was bullshit. This is a lot better than Dumb and Dumber 2. This is when this nice guy, Jim Carrey plays, he's been fucked around all his life. His girl leaves him. He raises 3 kids. One of them is Anthony Anderson. Right there. He's part of the, what do you call it, the patrol, highway patrol. He has to take Renee Zellweger back. They fall in love. And among this split personality that arose because of all the years of being treated like shit. I thought Jim Carrey gave a really wonderful performance in this. He was pretty damn funny. You also have Robert Forster, Chris Cooper, Richard Jenkins. Yeah, I would say the last decent Farrelly Brothers flick. Me, Myself, and Irene. And then Meet the Parents. There's 3 of these movies. I think the first one is easily the best one. I thought Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro worked well together. Ben Stiller trying to do the best that he can, but continually fucking up when he meets the parents. And, these two worked well together in this movie. In the sequels, they were planning it out a bit too dry. Like, it just, like, you have some fun. It just got sucked out a bit throughout the sequels. But this one, I think, is still fairly funny. Pretty entertaining. I would say one of Ben Stiller's better flicks. I still like Meet the Parents. Robert De Niro did another film, this time with Cuba Gooding Jr., called Men of Honor, which I haven't seen in a long, long time. Dean Cain was in this film called Militia, which, if you look up the trailer, they used footage from other movies. I think that's the one they used footage from Terminator 2. And if you watch the trailer, you'll know which footage. You'll know what I'm talking about. Speaking of comedy, because that fucking trailer you watched is pretty funny for the wrong reasons. Miss Congeniality. Being a fan of Sandra Bullock, gave this a watch. I enjoy it. The sequel, not the biggest fan, but this one I thought Sandra Bullock was fun. You have some nice roles with Michael Caine, William Shatner, Candice Bergen from Murphy Brown, Ernie Hudson. This is one of those that you only needed one movie, and one movie is all the humor you could get out of it has been gotten. That's why you didn't need a sequel. But pretty much Sandra Bullock is a tough FBI agent who's got to go uncover the Miss U.S. pageant. I thought Benjamin Bratt, he did a pretty good job too. Yeah, entertaining movie. But, I'm a big Sandra Bullock fan. Easily one of my favorite actresses. And then we have, let's see, where is it? Here it is. Since I'm grabbing that, I might as well grab this one too. Two movies came out in 2000 that were about Mars. Maybe there were others, and we'll get to that. But the two I think of, the first one being Mission to Mars. Now, Mission to Mars is directed by Brian De Palma. You have Gary Sinise, Tim Robbins, Don Cheadle, Jerry O'Connell. Once again, really like the cast. I keep saying that because that's one of the things I want if I'm going to like a movie, is to like the cast. And the other one, real quickly, is Red Planet. They both came out the same year. Now, the funny thing is, when I was a kid, I liked this one a lot more. And I did not like this one. Because this one is more akin to 2001, and this one's more akin to trying to be a thriller, an action thriller. But as I've grown up, I mean, I'm the guy that loves Cobra. It's one of my favorite films, same with Hard Targets. It's not that I'm against action thrillers. But this one I thought was more, it was better handled by Brian De Palma. I didn't realize Jim and John Thomas, who worked on Predator, worked on the script to this, the screenplay. Jim and John Thomas. And Graham Yost, I think he was one of the guys that worked on the script for Speed and Broken Arrow. Huh. But I like the cast. I like the Journey to Mars. I thought the effects were fine for the year it came out, 2000. I like seeing Gary Sinise. I'm a fan of him. It was cool to see him in the lead role. And the ending had a nice heart to it. Don Cheadle says a line like "Enjoy the ride," and to Gary Sinise, and it touched my heart, not my dick or my balls, my heart. Touch that. If it touched my dick, then it'd be a different, mission to cock, mission to Muff Town, that kind of movie. Then it can touch my balls with my hand. But I don't think this, I think I would rather watch this 100 times over Prometheus and Alien Come and shit. You know, Prometheus, oh, we go somewhere and they're linked to us. Yeah, like this movie did. But it was better cast, better characters, better fucking movie. I even like the music by, wasn't it by, wasn't the music by, Ennio Morricone, that's right. Ennio Morricone did the music for this. Effects by Industrial Light and Magic. I think they worked for the year it came out, 2000. So I like Mission Mars. I reviewed this film. Deserves a lot more than it got. And I might as well jump to this one, Red Planet, which when I watched this again, wasn't that good as I remember it. I don't mind Val Kilmer. He's sort of the janitor of this station. Like, not really a janitor, but he's kind of looked at as if he was a janitor. First mission to Mars, they have this robot called Amy. The way the trailer and even this cover makes it look like the entire film will either be about they find a creature there, or this Amy's gonna be hunting them, and that's what it's about. It's like Predator, but on Mars with this robot thing. Or I think when I saw the trailer, I thought, "Oh shit, they're gonna find this on Mars." When I first saw it, they're gonna find this on Mars. The deal on Mars is hunting them on Mars. This is from what? Left over from an alien race? No, they brought the thing there. It malfunctions when it crashes. It chases a couple of them. Uh, they don't even all die. Like, not many of them die from the fucking robot. One dies from these little fucking, what the fuck do you call it? Like flower type things. Like they get into, I don't know what the hell you call them. And one dies because another guy's an asshole, and accidentally kills him. Carry-On Moss is pretty much stuck on the ship trying to get in contact with the people on Mars. I don't know. Anthony Hoffman. I don't know what the fuck this guy's done before or since. Screenplay by Chuck Ferrer. Is that who I think it is? Story and screenplay by... He came up with the story and he's one of the screenplay writers. Chuck Ferrer actually did this movie. If you can't see what it is, Hard Target. One of my favorite films ever. It's a lot better than this movie, though. If I watch it again, I'd probably say it's a time waster, but it was weird when I rewatched this a few years ago. Just, wow, this is a lot lamer than I remember. But go figure. But yeah, nowadays I like Mission Mars a lot more than this one. Which do you like better? If you like any of them. Mission to Mars or Red Planet? I'm more a Mission to Mars guy. I reviewed this when I did the Mission Impossible series of reviews. Mission Impossible 2, I prefer 1, 3, and Road Nation. This is one of the lesser... I don't like this that much. Like John Woo, there's a lot of other John Woo films I prefer. I don't know. I did a review for this film. If you want to know more of my thoughts, feel free to check out that video. Just not for me. Although I do like the main song by, I think it was Limp Bizkit. But Rodney Dangerfield did a film called My Five Wives, which I've never seen. Interesting enough, there's a flick with Michael Rooker and Judge Reinhold together called Newsbreak. And Michael Rooker's the good guy. Judge Reinhold seems like he's this like politician or like some dirty type of like villain, and I think Michael Rooker's with the press and is looking into some dirty things going on. He's being hunted down. It's called Newsbreak. It's like, wow, Michael Rooker and Judge Reinhold together in a movie? I'd be curious to give that a look. Definitely. Well, one day. Well, let's see. Then we have next Friday. Now, right off the bat, this pack, I need to get another one because this is pretty, you can't see it, but it's pretty scratched up. So I need to get another one of these. Real quickly, it's not the year 2000 this came out, but all about the Benjamins. If you want to see a good version of Ride Along and Ride Along 2, watch All About the Benjamins. This film kicks the shit out of Ride Along 1 and 2. This is a much better movie. Mike Epps is a lot less annoying than Kevin Hart. He's much more funny. I think it deals with the action comedy a lot better. This is the good version of Ride Along 1 and 2, and yet this doesn't even have a fucking Blu-ray. Which is bullshit. Because this is scratched up, I want to get another one. Fuck bullshit. Fuck Ride Along 1 and 2. But of this path, the one that came out in 2000, it's next Friday. Not as good as the original, because Ice-T and Chris Tucker, I think, had some really special chemistry with each other. But Mike Epps was a good follow-up for Chris Tucker. I can see it. I mean, I prefer the first one, but if someone said they like the sequel more, I can understand. He visits his, I think, I want to say his cousin's home and neighborhood, and I don't know, the cast of characters worked well. Tiny Lister Jr. and John Witherspoon return. This is still a pretty funny, entertaining sequel. Friday After Next is the lesser one of the three. It's the least successful comedic-wise of the three, in my opinion. But it's there. But Next Friday is pretty fun. I like that. Then a film that I've never heard of. Dean Cain and Eric Roberts were in a film together called No Alibi. Never seen it. Interesting. I like those two. Then you have this film called Nurse Betty, which is interesting because of the cast. Because you have Renee Zellweger. She's a small town waitress. She's a soap opera fan, and something happens. She's all fucked up in the head. And she chases after her love, believing it's real, which is this soap opera actor played by Greg Kinnear. Now the cast involves Morgan Freeman, Chris Rock, Aaron Eckhart, Crispin Glover. I'm like Morgan Freeman and Chris Rock together in a film with Aaron Eckhart and Crispin Glover, and I don't know. I mean, Nurse Betty. I'll give it a look one day, maybe. Night Professor 2: The Clumps. I remember that being a pretty shitty sequel. I'm not a Nutty Professor fan anyway, so yeah. And the sequel I thought was worse. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I want to give another look. That's a Coen Brothers movie with George Clooney. I haven't seen that film since it came out. I want to give that flick another look. Octopus. Title pretty much says it all. You have this film, again, I've never heard of, with Rutger Hauer called Partners in Crime. Rutger Hauer is a twice divorced police detective who lives with his daughter. A local man is kidnapped. The FBI is called in. And the FBI agent that arrives is a girl who was Rutger Hauer's first wife. Pretty much he's part of this kidnapping case, and he's got to deal with this woman who was his first wife, and something happened long ago, and they blame him for this kidnapping case they got screwed up years ago. So they don't trust Rutger Hauer. They don't want him in part of the case. Again, released by Artisan Entertainment. Never even heard of the film. But I'm a fan of Rutger Hauer. So I wouldn't mind giving it a look one day. So you then have The Patriot. A Roland Emmerich film that no one talks about, but pretty damn good flick. You know what? I actually like this more than Braveheart. I gotta admit. Reluctant South Carolina farmer is forced to fight the British in this epic adventure of the American Revolution. It's long, a bit too long for me. Like, what, 2 hours and 40 minutes? But Mel Gibson's character is a badass motherfucker in this movie. You have Heath Ledger in the film, Jason Isaacs, which is a villain you fucking hated. You also have Chris Cooper, Chetty Terrio, Tom Wilkinson. Yeah, people forget this was directed by Roland Emmerich, but again, Mel Gibson's a badass motherfucker in this movie. The ending was satisfying, and you want Mel Gibson kick ass for America, watch The Patriot. Pretty damn good flick. Then you have The Perfect Storm, which I was never a fan of because it's 2 hours of crew making a stupid mistake and dying for their stupid mistake. That's really what the movie is. At least that's how I look at it. So never been much of a fan of that one. Pitch Black, easily the best of the Riddick movies. Sadly, maybe all you needed was one. I don't mind the second one. The third one was just a shitty remake of this movie. Vin Diesel does a great job as this guy who, you don't know if he's a hero, a villain, he's kind of neither or both. They used the low budget fairly well. Rhoda Mitchell did a really good job as the lead female. Well, she's the lead. Cole Hauser, Keith David. They took a really interesting idea and just made a kick-ass movie with it. And David Twohy, it's like he can't do it again. He tried with Riddick. It was just a bad, overlong version of this movie, where Riddick disappears for like a fucking hour. It seems. I hate Riddick, the movie, the third one, but this is a lot better. So, good sci-fi horror film. There's actually a movie called Prison of the Dead. I just thought the title was pretty funny. Proof of Life. I remember this as being an alright flick. It's not so much action, but there's a little bit of it. Pretty much the husband, played by David Morse, of Meg Ryan's character is kidnapped. They're asking for $3 million. And Russell Crowe goes in there as part of the hostage retrieval expert. Didn't know that was a thing. And then they kind of fall in love, like he kind of falls in love with her, and weird, some stuff happens. And it's okay, she don't fall in love with him. I don't know if you needed all that bullshit. Just be a straightforward rescue movie. I think that would have helped matters. And tone down the 2 hour and 15-minute running time. But, I think Russell Crowe and Meg Ryan did a good job. David Caruso, it was cool to see him in the flick as one of the good guys. Capable action in the third act. But, yeah. It was there as a time waster. Interesting because of the actors involved. And then Taylor Hackford. I know that director sounds familiar, but I don't remember what else he's done. Then you had a film called Rangers, which has Matt McCoy and Corbin Burnson in it, which I've never seen. Ready to Rumble, which you have right here. A comedy that deals directly with the WCW. Yes, WCW. That's why you had a lot of WCWs at the time, like Macho Man when he was over there, Diamond Dallas Page, Bill Goldberg, Sting. So it's fun to watch to see all those WCW stars. Pretty much these two are big fans of WCW. This made-up wrestler played by Alpha Platt. They try to get him back to his glory and regain his championship. This is one of those things that think, the movie itself, wrestling is real. Like they're really doing shit in this kind of movie. It's kind of like No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan. They don't really think of it as an act. That's what wrestling is. It's, you hate using the word fate, but because people really do get hurt, it's a tough job to do. But part of it is fake as well. Just like movies are fake. There's still people who get hurt and still work in action scenes, but it's still fake. Same with wrestling. But it was just sort of I don't mind David Arquette. I don't hate David Arquette like other people did and still do. So it was cool to see him the star of a comedy and dealing with wrestling and WCW. That made it a bit more fun. You also had Scott Conn, the son of James Conn, Rose McGowan, Joe Pantoliano, Martin Landau. This has quite a few features. Commentary with David Arquette, Scott Kahn, and Ahmed Zappa. Who the fuck is Ahmed Zappa? I don't know who the fuck that is. Music video, WCW Wrestlers Interview Gallery. So I had a fun time with Ready to Rumble for what it was. Then Reindeer Games, decent Ben Affleck flick, directed by John Frankenheimer. You had Gary Sinise, Charlize Theron, Dennis Farina, Clarence Williams III. Definitely a lot of double and triple, what do you call it? Definitely going for a lot of twists, double crosses, triple crosses. Sometimes it feels as if it's a bit too much with the double crosses, but still, I like Ben Affleck as a leading actor, and I know this is the version the director prefers. This is the picture I made for me. It's much sexier and much edgier. You also have a director's commentary, original theatrical cut scenes, behind the scenes featurette, trailer. So yeah, this is the director's cut. I don't know if the original cut is released. I would assume so. Yeah, I didn't mind this film. Ben Affleck's character gets out of prison, meets up with Charlize Theron. Gary Sinise and his men pick them up because they want him to plan this armed robbery of this place. And Ben Affleck's sucked into it, has to figure out what to do next. The Replacements, I would say one of the better football comedies, maybe my favorite football comedy. You have Keanu Reeves, Orlando Jones, Jon Favreau, Gene Hackman. Pretty fun cast of people. Howard Deutsch, I think the same guy who directed The Great Outdoors directed this. I know Jon Favreau at one time said that when he was at first this was supposed to be more of an R-rated, like those Burt Reynolds films back in the day, much more hard R film, but then it became this PG-13 flick where there's a scene where they're dancing, and I think Jon Favreau was disappointed in that. Maybe some of the actors were. I still enjoy the film. I still think it's an entertaining movie. The cast worked well together. It was cool to see Keanu Reeves play off against Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman, I love as an actor. I think he's one of the great actors out there. I've always been a Keanu Reeves fan. And it's definitely a flick that no one talks about. No one talks about this movie. There's like this. Was it Necessary Roughness with Scott Bakula? Like this football comedies people don't talk about, but this might be my favorite football comedy. Now, football movie, that'd be Any Given Sunday is my favorite football movie, but football comedy, I'd probably give it to that one. Requiem for a Dream, I believe I reviewed this film, should still be on the channel. Powerful, unsettling look at drug usage and how these 4 lives get destroyed because of drugs. Going to jail, or you're so fucked up you're almost like your looks are all gone, or you having to do sex, or just drug usage done in the way that Darren Aronofsky only could, and really, really solid movie. Worth a look to anyone who enjoys films in general and enjoys filmmaking. Yeah, I can love Cobra and Hard Target and be perfectly fine. I can also enjoy films like this. Damn good flick. You have Return to Me, which is a romantic comedy with David Duchovny. Animated film Road to El Dorado, Road Trip. You do have Romeo Must Die, which I reviewed when I did my little Jet Li marathon on his American movies. I much prefer Kiss of the Dragon, which is my favorite. I would put Cradle to the Grave above this. I might even put The One above this. It's there, but just the wire fu sequences bother me quite a bit. But there's still a couple of capable action sequences, and Aaliyah was not that bad in the movie. Isaiah Washington, Delroy Lindo, and it's there. I don't think I ranted on it. So if you want to check out more of my thoughts, the review is up on the channel. Yeah, I don't mind Romeo Must Die. It's not, again, but it's not my favorite though of his. You had Rules of Engagement, a film with William Friedkin directing, with Sam Jackson, Tommy Lee Jones, which I don't think I've seen all the way through. The first Stereo movie. This and the second one, to me, are the only good ones. 3, 4, and 5, I think, all suck horribly. But this one, it was a fun parody on Scream and those kind of flicks. I thought Keenan Ivory Wayans did a decent job. You had Lachlan Monroe, Regina Hall, Anna Faris, Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans. Not sure if this movie would hold up well today, but definitely better than shit like Meet the Spartans or Disaster Movie and all that crap. And then speaking of slasher, Scream 3 came out in the year 2000. A lot of people don't like the film. I do. I think it's the first one's my favorite, and then it's Scream 3. I really enjoy Scream 3. I reviewed the Scream films, all 4 of them. They're on my channel. Scream 3, I like that it took place in Hollywood. I like that David Arquette felt like he had more to do to compare with the second one. The second one, I don't like that they killed Jamie Kennedy's character off. That pissed me off to the point that I disliked the movie. It's not the only reason, but it's one of the big reasons. That was I think the biggest mistake they did was killing him off. It's not like they consistently did that. Well, anyone's game. Well, they didn't really keep doing that. Maybe because they knew how many people were pissed off when Jamie Kennedy's character died. And like, oh, but the killer reveal is bad. So it's same in the second movie too. The only killer reveal that's good really is the first movie. But I thoroughly enjoy Scream 3. Some nice takes on Hollywood. Nice appearances by people like Lance Henriksen. I thought Patrick Dempsey was really good in the flick. So I like Scream 3 a lot. Again, my review for it is on the channel if you want to hear more of my thoughts on that and the other Scream movies. This is a cool package that has the 3 movies and it has 2 documentaries. Still Screaming and Scream the Inside Story. Then a film that I need to give another watch. I haven't seen this in a while. Screwed. Norm Macdonald, Dave Chappelle, and Danny DeVito. I think a nice guy on here, Critter Busters. I think he's a fan of this movie. I haven't seen this in a while. It was cool to see Norm Macdonald, Dave Chappelle in the same flick. Pretty much Norm Macdonald and Dave Chappelle decided to steal their boss's pet dog. And then they get help from Danny DeVito to try to get them out of the trouble they're in. Danny DeVito plays a really scummy type of guy. I don't remember it being laugh out loud hilarious or anything. I just remember being kind of a time waster for the cast involved, but still, I mean, definitely a curiosity considering the cast. And I like Norm Macdonald. Next up is Shaft, which apparently they're doing another movie called like The Son of Shaft or something. But this is the first time they try to reboot it with John Singleton directing. I mean, you do have a capable cast. You got Samuel Jackson, Vanessa Williams, Christian Bale, Dana Dea, Toni Collette, Richard Roundtree, the original Shaft. So in a way, this isn't a remake. It is supposed to be in the same timeline, and he's like the yeah. Richard Roundtree plays Uncle John Shaft. So the original Shaft is this one's uncle. So again, in a way, I guess it's a sequel. Sam Jackson does a good job. I just remember like the rest of the movie's not as cool as Sam Jackson in it, but I don't remember hating the movie either. Like I just remember like Sam Jackson was the best part of it. And I guess other people felt the same way because this did not get sequels, which maybe it didn't do that well. I don't know how much it made or didn't make. Shaft. Film no one talks about. Next is a entertaining Jackie Chan film, Shanghai Noon. I liked it. I liked that you got to be in the Wild West. I thought you worked fine with Owen Wilson. Some really good action set pieces. Went at a good pace. Some funny bits of dialogue. I find it to be an entertaining movie, Shanghai Noon. So I'm going a little bit faster because it's like 51 minutes and I don't want to cut it. Well, have like 14 left, so I'm not sure if I should cut it. I'll go through them pretty quickly just to end it. Shriek, if you know what I did last Friday the 13th, the lower budgeted version of Scary Movie, which has Tom Arnold, Coolio, Tiffany Amber Thiessen from Saved by the Bell. I think Julie Benz, who had gone to be in Rambo 4, is one of the stars of this. But yeah, Trimark Pictures. So again, the much lower budgeted version of Scary Movie. But still better than shit like Meet the Spartans and Epic Movie and shit. Space Cowboys. That was a nice, good little flick. Well, not little, but Clint Eastwood directs this as well as stars. It was just nice to see this cast together. Clint Eastwood, Tommy Lee Jones, Donald Sutherland, James Garner. I'm a fan of these guys. It was just cool to see these guys work together. When it got into space, I thought like some of these guys could have been used more. Like when they actually got into space, like maybe the other three, I don't know, it just seemed like they were put a little bit more into the back seat. But still, a fun, I mean, yeah, not realistic, but fun idea. And a flick that no one talks about, but I remember being a pretty cool flick. Interesting that Eastwood directed this kind of movie. I think this was a hit when it came out too. I think it didn't do that bad. You had this superhero comedy called The Specials, which I haven't seen. Horror film called Spiders. You have the St. Francisville Experiment. Actually, I think this other film was in 2000 as well, and Cut, now that I think about it. Because Cut, the cast and crew of a horror flick called Hot Blooded are learning firsthand what it means to be stalked by a mass killer. The director is viciously murdered on set, the production is shut down, and the film locked away. Every time the footage is screened, somebody dies. 14 years later, a group of film students decided to finish the film, and then the students start to disappear one by one. Now they just have to finish the film before it finishes them. And it has Molly Ringwald from Breakfast Club in it. Because I think this is in the year 2000. I think this did come out 2000. So, cut. Cool to see Molly Ringwald in that kind of movie. And then the St. Francisville Experiment. Found footage films that were coming out after the success of Blair Witch Project. I actually don't mind this movie. Spoiler alert, no one dies in the movie. Which is probably never happened again in a found footage film. Just about these four people that go in this haunted house, and this is their footage. I don't know. I didn't mind the flick. I don't know how to explain why. I didn't mind the flick. Didn't mind it. Maybe one day I'll review it, go more explanation as to why. There was another film called Submerged. Only this stars Coolio's in the movie. Supernova, James Spader kicks ass in the flick. I wish the movie itself was better. I believe I did review this film. The Blu-ray is disappointing because there's a lot of info it leaves out that you can find online about the production of this movie. That this documentary should have been a lot longer, a lot more in depth. So I do think Scream Factory dropped the ball on this. But with that said, uh, there's parts of the movie I like, but overall, it's a disappointment. And James Spader, I like his character a lot. I wish it was in a better movie. Like Event Horizon is the better version of this. Tigerland, which I remember liking, and it actually has one of the better Colin Farrell performances. Tiny, underrated flick. Sadly, this film bombed so badly that the studio, which was associated with 20th Century Fox, went to the shitter because of it. Which is too bad because I really like the visuals of this movie. Matt Damon and Bill Pullman, John Leguizamo, Nathan Lane, Janine Garofalo, Drew Barrymore. They do voice work for the flick. That was cool. And just a visually beautiful movie to look at. Exciting film. Does not get the love it deserves, in my opinion. Again, I think Tiny underrated flick. I don't even think this film's on fucking Blu-ray. Of course, because it bombed when it came out. Unbreakable, my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie. I do want to pick this up on Blu-ray sometime to see it in HD. I know they're making a sequel, but I don't buy M. Night nowadays. That's why I don't want to see that movie split. Because M. Night has fucked me over too many times with The Visit and Lady in the Water and The Village. But I do enjoy this movie. I do. So I enjoy that a lot. Gene Hackman and Morgan Freeman were in this film called Under Suspicion, which I had never heard of. The sequel, Urban Legends Final Cut, which I didn't mind as a time waster, honestly. Maybe because I like the lead, Jennifer Morrison, because she was in one of my favorite TV shows, House MD. And you also have Hart Bochner from Die Hard. Anthony Anderson is in this. I like that it's a bunch of people making a horror movie, so it's people getting killed while they're making a horror film. I don't mind that a little bit. I don't know. I mean, compared to I Still Know What You Did Last Summer and Valentine, I would rather watch this movie. It's not great, but I remember not hating this film like other people did. But I like the first Urban Legend as well. A lot of people don't like that one. The Vault, piece of shit film. I only have this because it has a fun commentary. James Black, who has been in other films, and then J.R. Bookwalter, who is friends with James Black, and he produced this. They do a commentary on this one, and they do a commentary on another film they did, Galaxy of the Dinosaurs. Their commentaries are better than the movie. Because I find like their back and forth are fun, they're good friends, they're entertaining, they joke around. Uh, and yeah, the films they made are shit, but like their friendship and back and forth and what it takes to make a film, even though I hate the film, but what it takes and what they had to do, it's just really interesting. It's just a good vibe between the two. So that was worth the purchase, even though the movie sucks. But J.R. Brookwell and James Black, I think they have again nice dialogue with each other. Vertical Limit, which I remember not liking back in the day, because like wow, all these people die to save like one person. I thought wow, that's kind of shitty. I don't know. I would just rather watch Cliffhanger. Vulgar, the title fits. Brian O'Halloran, who plays the lead in Clerks and Clerks 2, the character Dante, he stars in this as well. Shut up, stomach. And he plays a guy who entertains kids in clown makeup, and one day he gets raped, and then he doesn't know what to do with his life. And, definitely a pretty decent performance by Brian O'Halloran. The movie itself, not so much. But I have the DVD because I enjoy commentaries. Kevin Smith is on the commentary because he produced this. Because his brother Brian Johnson wrote and directed it. Jason Mewes has a small cameo. I think the commentary is fun. And also, they have a documentary on Dogma. If you wonder why, Kevin Smith, he produced this film and he directed Dogma, so he was able to put it on here. And because of the stuff they said in the documentary, they were not allowed to put it on their own DVD of Dogma. So they put it on here because Dogma got a lot of shit from the like Christians, and they were defending themselves. So I guess the company wouldn't let them put it on their DVD of Dogma, so they put it on this. So this is a weird thing with Kevin Smith. Like the Blu-ray of Clerks has a documentary of Jay Silent Bob Strike Back on it. The DVD of this has a documentary on Dogma. So even if you don't like the film, I think if you find it for cheap, it's worth it for the documentary on Dogma. And again, I like the commentary more than the movie. The Watcher. I know there's a story behind this where Keanu Reeves like made a deal with someone that he'll do their movie, and then things change, and then he had to do the movie. And it's like, fine, I'll do your movie, but don't have me in the advertising, don't market me. And in all the trailers, he's right there front and center, and Keanu Reeves, which maybe that's why here, see his name is a little bit weirder than James Spader or Marissa Tomei, and like he has no face there. So I don't get what Richard Roper is saying, a superb thriller. Once again, like this is so sad with James Spader. I love James Spader. He got to be the lead hero in a sci-fi horror movie. He got to be the lead cop hero in this, thriller. And Keanu Reeves is the villain. Cool, but yet both movies kind of suck. Like James Spader is good in both movies, but goddamn, man, like the production problems and shit going on behind the scenes and the directors, like who the fuck is Joe Charbanik? Like, I don't know. I don't remember hating this to the 10th power. I just remember this being disappointing. But I do remember liking James Spader in the film. And Keanu Reeves, it was interesting to see him do a different kind of role. I don't remember hating his performance like other people do. I don't know. Maybe I need to watch this again, and maybe I'll like it a bit more and watch it again. But I just remember being disappointed with it. What Women Want, where Mel Gibson can hear women's thoughts and it makes him get more in touch with women. They're actually doing a remake of this, but it's What Men Want. So it's a woman who can hear what men are thinking. That's coming out next year. So, a remake of this. Go figure. I remember not minding it. I mean, Mel Gibson, Helen Hunt, Lauren Holly, Alan Alda. I thought it was there. I like Mel Gibson. He's fucked up. We all fucked up. So, uh, yeah, I was fine with having this for the Mel Gibson collection. Now, there were other films, What Lies Beneath, which I haven't seen forever, with Harrison Ford, Michelle Pfeiffer, Robert Zemeckis directed it. I remember hating the ending to that movie. What Planet Are You From? Gary Shandling in a comedy as an alien. I just remember that not being that funny. A film called Wonder Boys, which I haven't seen with Michael Douglas. And the last two, The Whole Nine Yards, entertaining comedy with Bruce Willis. Sequel, not so much, but I thought this was pretty funny. Bruce Willis and Matthew Perry, I thought, worked very well together. You also have Karen Pollak, Michael Clark Duncan, may he rest in peace, Natasha Henstridge, Rosanna Arquette, Amanda Peet. I thought this was a pretty funny movie. And I think you had Gladiator, but that's a film I haven't seen in forever. I should mention that. I just not much a fan of the time period it takes place in. Just not my cup of tea. Gladiator. Just I was never much for Gladiator. And X-Men. Successful. Patrick Stewart does a good job. Ian McKellen does a good. Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, Ian McKellen, they do a good job. Halle Berry, James Marsden, not even much to do. Halle Berry's giving some shitty lines, like the theme with Toad. You know, what do toads do? Shitty lines. I'm not sure this movie would hold up if I watch it again. Like maybe I think it's an okay time waster. It's funny, people shit on this. This people shit on Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher. He doesn't wear the outfits, the skull. They don't wear the fucking outfits in this movie too. They all just wear black, but no one gave a shit. I think if I watch it again, it'll be an okay movie. I just don't think I'll love it. But I think it'll be okay, because I think the cast, for the most part, do their jobs well. You know, Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, Ian McKellen, Rebecca Romaine Stamos, Ray Park. So, X-Men. So, that is my look into the films of 2000. Thanks for watching. Take care. We will see you guys later. Bye-bye.